conversion rates, or maybe the market changes and you see a change in your best sellers ranking. And, we have all these things we look at that we see as either good cues or bad cues. But in my opinion, if you really focus on the customer, the problem that you're solving, and the language that they are using to try and solve that problem for themselves, then you can maintain a steady pace through those changes, through those ups and downs. And in the long run, you kind of look back and you see that, you kind of stayed steady versus going up and down and playing the game of, my keyword should be here and I need this keyword there. And, what if I can make this URL look like I'm sending traffic from, Instagram when I'm really not. And I think all those things are cool. And I like to know those things and learn those things. But I think it needs to be, the icing on the cake, not the cake, right? Like it needs to be just some extra stuff that you try and you understand the risk reward ratio. Because I think that's the other big thing on Amazon is like, you can do one thing and it can shut your account down and you can lose thousands of dollars in revenue. And it's just a dangerous game to play, especially now. Like I really see things changing ever since that new CEO came on at Amazon. Like, things are changing. And some of it's been good. They're rolling out some new features in Amazon Seller Central. They're giving us some great reports. I was just in the demographics report the other day, and I was kind of mind blown that, I was able to see age ranges and, male and female and stuff like that. So we didn't have those things years ago. And I think that's what can really take your branding and your messaging to the next place.
Excellent. Good. Really great the stuff, the insights you have shared. So, as I told that I have a brand I manage, and the conversion and ranking is drops down. I can feel it now how I'm facing the issue. In your point of view, the how bad conversion, how much actually a bad conversion, how much it could impact the whole account or on the whole product or on the whole sales, even in the PPC.
How much can convert? What did you say again,
That how
Steve?
much bad conversion, how for example the conversion dropped, you were getting a good conversion number, for example like to that number, and it drops drastically or suddenly, definitely sales will get impact. As a being a $1 million seller, how did you come over on it, and how much, I mean, it could lose you, it could give you a loss in the sales, lower sales or high bad conversion, or how did you manage it when you comes to this bad conversion point?
Yeah, if I'm seeing low conversion rates, then the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, were we converting well before, and for how long were we converting well? And if I'm seeing a drop in conversion, then I'm going to look at the market as a whole and see if there's some competitors that entered the space that might be stealing my market share. Because if I'm confident it's a relevant term and I know my audience and I also have data to support what I'm thinking, then most likely there's a competitor that has come along and is taking my market share. And if that's the case, then I'm going to look at how I can beat them. And I'm going to come up with some strategies in my own head and do some testing on my own. But if I need to test further, then I'm going to look at like a polling feature like IntelliV or PickFu to run some polls and see what other people think. But the big thing I'm going to be asking myself is like, hey, am I really supposed to be here anyways? If is my product relevant? Is my product good? Is it solving a problem that is associated with this keyword? Because if it is, then I should be able to hang out there. I should be able to stay there and continue to convert well on that keyword to get that revenue back where I want it to.
Excellent, excellent. Appreciate it. Brilliant. There's as one more thing that you know that now is Amazon actually they are they are substituting your exact keywords with other keywords. Actually, it's a variance. So how are you feeling? Are you facing this kind of at the moment, or